gonna cut me down. Better do it quickly now. Now you can cut me down, but I won't stay for long. I'll grow back again. Oh yeah, my roots are strong.
day full of fun-filled surfing activity known as the Paul Mitchell Neon Supergirl Pro here at Oceanside. Nice to have you out and about.
The atmosphere of the Supergirl Pro this year is bigger and better than ever.
To me, it's like the US Open of female.
You know, it's about bringing girls together, and right now there's just such a huge movement of women just empowering each other to go out there and have a try.
There's a lot to check out if you're a spectator, which is cool, or a fan. We've got the stage set up for musicians to come and play.
The atmosphere at the event is awesome.
All the factors that they bring to this event, the music, the skateboarding, the surfing, you know, just making it a great time for families. I think it's really special.
You know, all these little shops everywhere, and
it's all about women and empowering women and
lineup of people on the pier as well, so you're kind of surrounded like a little stadium, which is, it's fun.
It's really exciting and high energy, so it keeps you psyched all day.
So we are at the Paul Mitchell Neon Supergirl Pro Surf event in Oceanside, California. And inside this beautiful Paul Mitchell Neon tent, we are doing braids and pink extensions for $5. And all of the donations go to a charity called No Place for Hate. We're having autograph signings with our athletes and just having a great time at the surf event.
The reason I love this comp so much is how it empowers young women to be strong, to pursue their dreams, and have that never give up attitude.
Oh my God!
Beautiful place to watch a surf event, and Mother Nature providing some sort of opportunity at some moment. Coming in hot right now, Carissa Moore. Amazing snap right there. So Carissa, here she goes. Carissa, so skilled and versed. There you go. Give her a little bit of love, would you, out there?
Julia is someone I grew up surfing with. She's really talented. One of her strengths is she's a wave magnet. She does a really good job positioning herself in the lineup.
Malia, last wave score 5.73, 5.73. Not quite enough, but a healthy score nonetheless.
It's so close that we both had kind of equal opportunities, and I think maybe Krista hitting more of a closeout section made the difference. But I thought my second wave was pretty decent, and yeah, I just didn't get like just that one little extra opportunity to get the score I needed.
This is semifinal heat number 2. Here we go. One wave, 2 surfers with priority Carolyn Marks. And she's more interested in her backhand, but actually both of them looking at the backhand. Marks right here, we know that she needs something in the high 4 range. Carolyn Marks with a 7.50 takes the lead.
The conditions were really fun. Me and Coco both had some opportunity, and my 7.5 was pretty much, I did all my work in the inside in the shore break, and it was like a little mid chip. I caught the chip of the outside, and like it was pretty fun. I was stoked.
Let's see what happens here. Coco Ho, she needs another win. Well, she's going to need an 8.73 or better her 5.60 to chip away at the lead.
I was looking forward to that heat, and I just kind of let priority go and gave her best 2 scores, so nothing I can do.
Caroline Marks, the 16-year-old out of San Clemente, goes into her first final. Let's set the stage for the 35-minute battle, where one of these 2 goddesses will walk out with a cape and a $10,000 check and 6,000 QS points. And this is Carissa Moore in the red, getting after it. Come on, folks, put your hands together. 3-time world champion. She can hear you.
You get a 7.67. Now Carolyn Marks.
She's looking at it. She takes it. She's going to fire down the line towards you folks on the pier. Oh, lays it back and uses that core muscle and that leg strength to stay on it.
I definitely didn't get the best waves in that heat, but I feel like the waves I did catch, I surfed really well, kind of as good as you can surf them, and I'm just really stoked on that.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that is a wrap. Ladies and gentlemen, Carissa Moore is your 2018 Paul Mitchell Supergirl Pro.
She hails from Oahu, Hawaii. She takes the Supergirl cape. Put your hands together for the queen, the Supergirl, Carissa Moore.
It feels really good to finally come out on top here at the Supergirl Pro. It was just nice to put together a few heats, and being able to just put up a couple of scores gave me a lot of confidence, so I'm really stoked.
Chris Moore, and I'm a Supergirl.
Everybody, and welcome back to another week of Supergirl Gamer Pro. We are rounding out the weekend with our Hearthstone broadcast. It is myself, Necra, joined once again by Dragon Rider, and we are so excited for this week 4, aren't we?
Oh, yes. I feel like there's a lot to talk about, but we've had 3 weeks of play so far, 9 weeks total, so we are just getting into our week 4 play, but also this week will be the last week of the meta that we've had before we get into a new expansion launching next week, which is actually going to be just a couple days before the tournament is for next Sunday. And just as a reminder for everybody as well, each week is its own individual tournament. So I feel like a lot of these players, if they're really set with this meta, this is the week where they really want to try to get a good showing in to kind of solidify some of those points before the meta changes on them.
Yeah, so if you are new to the broadcast and you haven't heard about what this point system structure is, well, we're here to tell you. We have 9 weeks of Hearthstone play, as along with our other 2 titles for Supergirl Gamer Pro's 2020 series, which is going to be Counter-Strike Global Offensive and League of Legends. And from July 10th to September 6th for each of these 3 titles, you can accumulate points in each of the weekly tournaments that take place. Want to know a little bit more? Head over to www.supergirlgamerpro.com and follow us on our socials at SG Gamer Pro on Facebook and Twitter, and join the Discord to hear more about each of these weekly tournaments. For Hearthstone specifically, there's 100 points on the line, and even if you just participate, you're getting 15 points towards your championship in that in San Diego, California, October 3rd to 4th. So that's what these players are playing for right now.
Yeah, and I love that even just participating, each week is a 16-player bracket, so just getting in there, trying your hand, single elimination, so maybe it doesn't work out one week. You still get a little bit of points, but you can try every single week, so build up those points as much as possible. I love seeing these players come back, and if we want to jump into that, actually, I think we do have our first match kind of already scheduled and prepared. And what is our first match looking like for tonight?
We have a first match between Brickworm and Malira that's going to be kicking off our round of 16. But before we do that, we want to thank some of our sponsors and throw you to a little bit of an ad break to show you a little bit more about what they're all about.
So I'm going to hold on promoting you this quarter. Cool?
Drop the taco. Get in the car.
The
Does this Sentra feel like a compromise to you?
Wait, what?
The handling, it's good, right? No compromise there.
Nope. Watch this. Come on, breathe.
Rear automatic braking. So if this Nissan Sentra isn't going to compromise, why should you?
You're right.
Atta girl.
The all-new Nissan Sentra with more standard safety features than any other car in its class.
It's not just the ships, the armor, or the aircraft. It's something more. It's the will to fight and determination to win, found inside each and every Marine that answers a nation's call. Battles won.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Supergirl Gamer Pro. We are going to be jumping into our very first match of the day, which is going to be Brookworm versus Melira. Bans have already come through. Don, why don't you tell us what we're expecting to see?
Absolutely. So for Brookworm, we have a warrior, warlock, and hunter, and her warrior has been banned. And for Melira, we have a hunter, rogue, and warrior, and the hunter has been banned. But a little bit interesting here on Melira's side, we actually have a pirate warrior, which we haven't seen in the past several weeks yet. So I am interested to see this, along with a couple of decks that we've kind of seen before. So I'm really interested to see which deck each of these players queue up with first.
Yeah, I'm super excited to see that as well as we're getting ready to jump into game. I'm super excited about the decks that Melira brought specifically because not only is there that Pirate Warrior, but we were mentioning some differences in the Galakrond Rogue that Melira has brought as well. So we'll see what ends up being brought to this very first game. Just as a reminder for those of you that are tuning in for the first time to a Supergirl Gamer Pro series, or if you've missed the explanation before, each of the games that we are going to be playing are a best of 3 total conquests, meaning that each player brings 3 decks and bans out 1 from the opposing side and has to win with the other 2. So that's what we're going to be looking at for all of our series today in this single elimination bracket. As we can see here that it's going to be Brookworm on your bottom screen, Melira on the top. Melira has brought that Pirate Warrior, and it is going to be the Quest Warlock coming in for Brookworm.
Yeah, and a little bit interesting, we were looking at these deck lists, and Brookworm's Warlock list here, there's kind of a few different Quest Warlock lists that have been going around, and her list here is a little bit leaning towards more of a Highlander style. There are still duplicates in the deck, but she is running both Zephyrus and Dragon Queen Alexstrasza, in addition to the kind of OG Alexstrasza that's going to set a player's health to 15.
Yeah, that's kind of an interesting choice for this particular meta, because if you think about what happened last week, which I don't believe Brookworm was a part of, but last week's Supergirl Gamer Pro, we had a lot of aggressive style decks. In fact, I think it was the shortest broadcast we've ever done. But it speaks volumes to kind of how quickly the players were playing. And I feel like Melira's deck lists speak a little bit towards that end of things, where it's still very hyper aggressive, especially when you're taking a look at this quick start for the Pirate Warrior.
Yeah, and talking about speed, these players have been playing very quickly. It does seem like both players are comfortable with the decks they're playing right now. You know, they've played them quite a bit. But yeah, this Melira hand and board has already gotten off to a very fast start here. But Brookworm does have a lot of removal tools, as well as multiple taunts in the deck as well. So some anti-aggro tools in here as well for Brookworm. So I think she's going to be able to handle a lot of these boards pretty easily.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you look at the Crazed Netherwing, all of that setup for Melira is just gone to the wind now. But it leaves some room for this Captain Greenskin to come through, and you get that extra pirate that you're able to kind of throw into the deck.
Yeah, as well as a little bit of extra damage, which is what this Pirate Warrior is really built on, just pushing that extra damage. So, yeah, just buffing up the weapon with 1 attack. And for Brookworm here, we see that only 6 out of the 20 cards have been drawn for that quest, so she hasn't really progressed towards that quest very quickly so far, but as long as she can kind of keep that board and kind of monitor her health, I think she's going to be able to make it much further in the game.
Monitoring health is going to be hard, because when you take a look at what the Warrior wants to do, which is push damage, and then you take a look what the Warlock wants to do, which is tap face, that ends up adding up pretty quickly. And we already mentioned that there are some healing tools in the deck for Brookworm, but managing those against this aggressive style of warrior is going to be a task and a half if I think about how long this game could go.
Yeah, it's very true. The list is running double Nether Breath, though, and these Moarg Artificers, as long as there's a dragon in hand, an Artificer plus a Nether Breath can get her 8 health. And if she ends up having 2, I mean, that's another 16 health. So there could be a lot of healing potential as long as Brookworm can kind of draw into those pieces, which we do see a couple of those in hand, but you know, yeah, she's gonna have to find those, and it's a little bit tricky though, because she does have to try to squeeze in playing all of that, but still trying to, again, like we kind of mentioned, control the board. And Melira is just not slowing down this whole time. She's just been pushing that aggression and pressure every single turn.
Lots of pressure for sure, which is pushing Brookworm to use a lot of removal tools early. We already saw Crazed Netherwing come through. Here's one of those Dark Skies, which is a great removal tool for the whole board. But I really like that, you do have these berserkers in the deck, which can really help you to heal up. Especially if you're going to use sense demons for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Those brood mothers can help a lot against aggro. And I do like the plays from Melira here as well. She's, again, just gotten out on board every single turn, been trying to push this pressure as much as she can, because she knows that if this game goes too long, she is not going to be able to finish the game out. She needs to push that pressure before Brookworm is able to draw into those tools. And, again, we kind of mentioned it, but yeah, Brookworm hasn't found any of those nether breaths yet. She's holding a dragon, she's holding the Moarg, so she's going to be able to get a good amount of healing once she finds it, but she needs to get those tools to be able to heal up. But both of these captains coming down actually gives Melira a value trade, which that's amazing. I feel like a lot of these aggros decks, you can get a trade, but generally it's kind of a 1-for-1. You're not really getting a value trade and still being able to push damage, but Melira being patient with holding those captains and being able to play both out at the same time allowed her to actually get a value trade and push damage at the same time, which very good on her end.
Pushing so much damage that I feel like this is almost a position where you might even want to consider just going in for the Twisting Nether. I don't know if there's any other good options. Like, you could, let's see, you could use your Rain to at least get rid of one pirate, but it still leaves those I don't know.
Yeah.
What a tough choice, because I don't think you can just put down another Broodmother either.
No, I agree with this. I think it has to be the Twisting Nether there. Even a Moarg Rain of Fire still only clears one thing. And she's just facing down so much damage that, yeah, I think she absolutely had to. She's really, really looking for Nether Breath at this point. Down to 12. I love this.
What, the sheer aggression coming out from Melira right now?
Well, and using that lackey, the Titanic lackey, to buff this above the 3 health, because she's seen a little bit of removal already from Brookworm, and this plays around the second Netherwing coming down. So this kind of baits out, does Brookworm have the resources to play out even more board removal? Maybe there's a second Netherwing, and if the Netherwing comes down, Brookworm is going to actually go down to 9, and a pirate still lives on board. So I love that play. They're trying to protect a little bit and bait out something, and if it's not there, then she has a lot of damage on board to now push next turn if Brookworm doesn't have that removal.
We can see in hand the removal is going to be hard to find for every pirate that is now on the board for Melira. Even double Rain of Fire. I guess you have Moarg. That gets rid of the lackeys.
Yeah.
4/2 pirate with, okay, all right, I like this. Here comes the parrot to be able to clear out that buffed pirate.
Yeah, just gonna kind of preemptively play out this artificer, hoping to play something out next turn. Or... Yeah, at this point, I mean, Brookworm is now so low on health that Melira is looking to just push the last bit of damage, and she has exact damage here. Wow.
Wow, that was so clever. You could see that Melira was like, we talked about this a little bit during the first game, but you could really tell that Melira specifically was thinking about multiple turns ahead. Not only just thinking about, how can I pressure out a lot of these removal tools coming in from Brookworm, but also what's going to get me to the finish line? How much damage do I need to push? How much board do I have to preserve in order to actually get to the finish line before Brookworm can get those key pieces online?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, to me, I feel like one of the best plays there was the turn when she just went extra wide. She got that Titanic lackey down, and she basically just forced Brookworm to have the answer. She had seen multiple removals, and yeah, basically she just went up in a position where, hey, I'm forcing you to have an answer, and if you don't, I'm going to be able to basically beat you down from here. Sometimes aggro decks kind of have to get into that position where they know if the game starts to go too long, the other deck is going to be able to stabilize and they won't be able to get there. But I think that was great recognition from Melira. And on Brookworm's side, I think she tried her best there. It just, the draws didn't quite work out for her. She couldn't find the healing tools that she was really looking for. But she tried to dig a little bit and get as much as she could, and it just didn't quite work out.
Well, we have a second game that we can see Brookworm change the tides here, but this is match point if you're going to look at it from the best of 3 conquest, but there's also something else particularly interesting on the line for both of these players. Brookworm and Melira right now are sitting in a 9th and 10th place respectively, which is you need the 8th place finish in order to get to those championships in San Diego, California. So both of these women right now are working very hard to try to solidify that 8th place spot for them. And points beyond just the 15 from participating are really going to help towards that goal.
Yeah, absolutely. And we kind of talked about how both of these players, have played and gotten points before. You mentioned they're kind of sitting in at that spot. We do have quite a few more weeks still to go after this, but yeah, trying to solidify a large amount of points this week is going to make a huge difference, leading into kind of buffing them up into the kind of top 8 spots, as well as leading them into the expansion coming out next week. Like I mentioned before, that maybe these players aren't as comfortable in new metas. So they're going to try to take advantage of this last week here, playing these decks that they've been playing the past couple of months and have the most experience with. And I think we kind of see that here as well with Brookworm bringing this Warlock again. I know she has played a lot of Warlock. It's done very well for her on ladder. So I feel like she's also very comfortable with Warlock at this point. So it's not really surprising to see her bring it back for this next game.
Yeah, the Warlock was just like right there, right? I feel like Brookworm was just cards away from getting the right pieces online. But now that you have both Moargs in hand, I feel like this leaves you into a pretty good position just to make sure that you're going to have removal tools full and a huge Edwin that can come down.
Yeah, absolutely. And a couple things too with that, since Demons coming out, is first of all, there's not very many demons that are played in these deck lists in the first place. So Melira can already kind of get a feel for what demons were drawn, as well as the fact that this is an open deck list tournament. So she can actually open up the deck list and directly look and see which demons are in the deck. And she didn't see a Broodmother come out to heal Brookworm last turn, so she can kind of already figure out that those are the Moarg Artificers. So I wonder if Melira is going to use that knowledge to kind of plan ahead here, but we did kind of talk about the deck lists as well, and we kind of see some of this in hand here. Melira's Rogue is actually running both kind of the secret and the stealth packages, and she did omit a little bit of the Galakrond Invoke stuff. She's not running the Devoted Maniacs, and there's only one Faceless Corruptor in this list. So she kind of has this hand right now where she's really going in on this Lackey synergy. Like you mentioned, going to try to build up a big Edwin, but she's also got some secret stuff going on here too. We see the Stunner in hand that she could potentially use if Brookworm just plays a large single thing.
So some synergy that might come through. A lot of tools to be able to buff up this Edwin, though. I'm not seeing kind of like the big combination package of returning things to hand and then being able to play them out again. I feel like that's kind of where you get a chance to see like bigger Edwins come down. But now that you've seen a Crazed Netherwind come through, that's just like really great way to be able to just kind of say, hey, I might be able to put more lackeys on board because you might not have a second one.
Yeah, absolutely. And all right. We don't get to see this very often, but this is really interesting. Gonna kind of, oh, and there's actually a shadow step. I wonder if she goes for the shadow step. Yeah.
I feel like that sets you up so well because
yeah,
like Edwin
absolutely.
means if you don't have the removal tools, then like that's going to be a problem. We obviously can see like we have Moarg, we have Soulfire, so that could be able to combo really nicely to be able to remove it. But
yeah, and we do see the second Crazed Netherwing in hand here for Brookworm, so she can clear this board. She will do a little bit of damage to herself, go down to 14. Again, though, kind of the same thing as last game. She has these Moargs, she's got a dragon, but there's no Nether Breaths in sight. And she really needs those Nether Breaths to kind of get off a lot of healing.
yeah, those Nether Breaths are going to be so big, especially when you take a look at the Moargs that are in hand.
Yeah.
Oh, coming with the flick, though, that's just going to be able to remove all of that pressure from board. And now Melira is in a really good position once again. I just feel like maybe I actually can't see what this card is.
A little bit of a
bug, I guess.
Yeah, I think that just the coin. I think we might be encountering a spectator bug here, but that's okay. It didn't really affect the game here.
Just trying to think about where Brookworm goes from here.
And I think it does look like we're having a little bit of a spectator bug here.
Yeah,
but we're
it does.
going to work on getting that fixed, I think. So that's all right. We'll just kind of see a little bit what's going on there. Did kind of see that Moarg looks like being played out of hand for Brookworm. So maybe she ended up finding that heal. Maybe she went for some removal there, but still in it. I don't think there was anywhere near enough damage. Or direct damage either from Melira to kind of finish out the game there. So we're going to be getting back in just 1 second here. What do you think was going on with those hands though, Necra?
I feel like the only out that I see right now is if Brookworm pulls Nether Breath and is able to heal back up out of range of being knocked out by Melira at this moment. And I feel as though this has been twice now where Brookworm has gotten into this kind of awkward position of having half of the pieces of the puzzle, but not the other half that's necessary to finish out the job. So yeah. I'm not really sure what Brookworm maybe could be thinking in these moments to try to get through to the end game. But for Melira, it just kind of felt like just consistent pressure once again coming out from this rogue. And I feel like that's been a kind of a interesting spot to be in. But we're back in game. It does look like we have a very interesting choice here. Grommash, Zixor, or Beastmaster Leorox.
Yeah. And it does look like Brookworm managed to heal up some, back up to 25 health there. But yeah, pretty interesting choice here.
So many options.
Yeah, I don't quite know what to pick here. I also wonder whether or not we're having another bug, because I feel like it wouldn't have taken this long to pick.
Yeah. You know what? Sometimes this happens in game. It's a little bit unfortunate, but
yeah,
it does happen.
It wouldn't be Hearthstone. That's funny. You know, honestly, it kind of looks like from the state of the game that Brookworm has found an out. So she was sitting at something about like 16, 17 health, is back up to 25. So good on her for figuring that out. But yeah, it does look like we're having some spectator issues. Very sorry about that. But we will be getting back into the game as soon as we can. But those were some interesting choices that we saw Melira have the ability to choose from. And I almost wonder whether or not like you go for something like the Gromish?
And she could have. I mean,
Zixor was honestly such a good choice too.
The Zixor too. Yeah, I was gonna say that. But it's a little bit interesting as well here. I just want to talk about the deck list again for Brookworm with that Quest Warlock. We kind of mentioned how it is playing a few more pieces, like Highlander type pieces, than some of the other lists. And I think some of that has also caused a little bit more inconsistency with the drawing, which has made her hand seem a little bit more awkward. There's only one Soulfire in her list. She's also running an Ooze, only one Questing Explorer, which, you know, the Questing Explorer can help you get a little bit more draw going. The One Sense Demons, one Bone Wraith, one Abyssal Summoner, you know, one Kartut Defender. So, like, there are a lot of singles in the deck as well. So that's, you know, I think causing maybe a little bit of inconsistency with the draws and trying to find some of those tools that she's really been looking for. But she was able to kind of get more draw going, I think, this second game than that first game. It seemed like she was just really started out on the back foot because of all that pressure that you talked about. And even though the Rogue was putting out some pressure, it wasn't quite as much as that aggressive warrior list was putting out. So I think it allowed her a little bit more time to kind of find the like you said, like the outs and the healing and kind of stabilize a little bit from there. But
I just think back to that turn 8 Twisting Nether that we had to see come out from Brookworm so early in the game. Like, what? Using a Twisting Nether on curve? That's just kind of like, it again speaks volumes to how much pressure was coming out from that aggressive Pirate Warrior list. Yeah. But the other thing that I think is kind of interesting about just like the Rogue versus the Warlock in general is that we do have a very interesting Rogue package. I know you mentioned this already, but you know, it's very interesting to see how those two play out, because I feel as though maybe the inconsistencies with not having like more Galakrond pieces might play a role in whether or not we get a chance to see the Galakrond be fully invoked or not.
Yeah, and maybe we actually will get to see it fully invoked in this match because the game is going a little longer, but fortunately it does look like we have gotten back in. We're still in the same Rogue versus Warlock match, and it looks like Melira was able to get the Shadow Jeweler Hanar down, get some secrets going. She's got quite a board here, and again we see Brookworm with this somewhat awkward hand here, just trying to keep the board a little bit clear. These secrets might make this slightly awkward here.
Yeah, I don't know what those secrets are, because we just ended up jumping right into game. But you can see there's a Hunter secret, a Paladin secret, and a Rogue secret. And the Paladin secret's going to pop already. That was a noble sacrifice coming through from Shadow Jeweler Hanar, which really makes this carrot difficult to use. And also Bamboozle coming through.
And this is a really interesting interaction that we see sometimes, and the snake trap hopping all at once here.
Three.
But if anyone hasn't seen this interaction before, the minion that originally was being attacked is the one that gets kind of upgraded to something that costs 3 more from that Bamboozle. But the minion that is doing the attacking is still going to actually trade into that 2/1 that pops off of the Noble Sacrifice. So basically Melira got a free upgraded minion there that didn't get attacked into. And yeah, that's pretty huge for Melira. A little bit unfortunate on Brookworm's end, but again, now how does she kind of navigate this board here? We might have to see a Twisting Nether come down here. And I couldn't tell from the hand before, I didn't quite catch it, but I'm not sure if these Highlander cards with this Dragon Queen Alexstrasza and the Zephyrus are active or not yet.
Yeah, we'll have to find out next turn, but from what I can tell, also from Melira's hand, it did look like she went for the Grommash Hellscream pick. So that's very, very interesting. I'm excited to see that come down at some point. If we get a chance to do that, that'll be very fun.
Yes. And all right, so it looks like there's still a duplicate in the deck here, but does pick up another plot twist. I wonder if she has to go for the Nether and just a plot twist. I feel like she has to go for the Nether here. Like, it's the only way to remove stuff off the board.
But do you plot twist first to see if you find a better answer?
I mean, the thing with that I'm worried about is, and she is going to go for it, I'm worried about not redrawing that
Twisting Nether.
That Twisting Nether, and if she doesn't find another answer, then she's now also out the one answer she had. But does pick it back up again, as well as completing the quest here.
Because, like, Dark Skies is a
Double
pretty
Dark Skies.
decent thing here, too.
Yeah, there's just so much health on this board, I think. Oh my gosh. And I wonder if she would have wanted to actually use that 0-mana hero power first. I think she would have been able to get off an extra damage or two from those Dark Skies.
Well played.
Which actually probably would have killed off that. Oh no, here we go.
Seal fading your own Grommash.
Wow.
I knew something fantastic was going to happen with that Grommash, but
that's it.
You know, that's definitely one way to do it. For Brookworm, she's still going to go home with those 15 points from this week. Kind of looked like, again, that the Warlock wasn't really doing the favors that it needed to in this particular matchup. But congratulations going to Melira for making it through our round of 16 into our round of 8 moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I think, again, we kind of talked about the deck lists and the deck choices there. And, you know, you mentioned how Melira kind of brought more aggressive things. And I think that really helped her in that matchup as well. Not only that she was able to put on so much pressure every single turn, but also the fact that the way that Brookworm had that Warlock deck built, to me, felt a little bit more like she was going for a long game plan, you know, making sure that she was going to be able to last long enough to get all of the draws off and really get a lot of value from Zephyrus and Dragon Queen Alexstrasza. But it just didn't quite work out that way for her this time. But yeah, not going home empty-handed, still getting some points in there. And I think that puts her at, a 70-point total, which is still pretty good over these 4 weeks, and still 5 more weeks to go. So she's nowhere near out of it. And we are going to see, that was our top 16, right? Top 16 match. So we're going to have quite a few more matches still to go tonight. But before we jump into that next one, we are going to take just a few minute break. So go grab a drink, get a snack, go to the bathroom, whatever it is you need to do. And stay tuned for our next match. We'll be right back.
No one knows where it comes from. Why some have it and some don't. It's the fighting spirit. It consumes fear and weakness. It stands ready to fight whatever shape the battle takes. Because as long as there are battles, there will always be Marines.
So I'm gonna hold on promoting you this quarter. Cool?
Drop the taco. Get in the car. Does this Sentra feel like a compromise to you? Wait, what? The handling, it's good, right? No compromise there.
Nope. Watch this.
Breathe. Rear automatic braking. So if this Nissan Sentra isn't going to compromise, why should you? You're right. Atta girl.
The all-new Nissan Sentra with more standard safety features than any other car in its class.
For a long time, we had to prove ourselves. But we always knew what we were capable of. We knew when the time came, we would be ready for anything. Our numbers keep rising. And so do we.
I'll take a chance and let you in. Just take my hand and take me home tonight. We defeat all impossibilities. Yeah, you and me. We'll take our hearts and run free into the
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Supergirl Gamer Pro. It is for Hearthstone. We already saw a riveting match between Melira and Brookworm to kick off our round of 16. But next, we've got Trojanator versus Linthesis in top 8.
Yes, and I think we've seen both of these players already before the last couple of weeks, so I'm really interested to see, kind of what they bring this week and if there's any kind of big differences from what they've brought before. But I think they've both been doing pretty well in these tournaments already, so I'm really excited to get into this and see how this week goes for each of them.
I'm really excited as well. Let's go ahead and let people know that Trojanator has 125 points, sitting comfortably in 5th place right now, as Linthesis is in 6th with 75. So a little bit of a gap there, but this is the difference maker right now. Top 8 is the difference on whether or not you're taking home, I believe, 25 versus 50. So there's a really, really great way that we could see Linthesis shoot into that top 5 spot.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to start talking about the decks really quickly as well here. Kind of some different decks than we've been seeing, but Trojanator bringing a Highlander Mage, the Hunter that we're kind of used to seeing, that Highlander Hunter, and a Priest. I don't think we've had enough Priest on this cast so far, so we might be seeing some Priest here. And so that's Trojanator. And for Linthesis, we see a Highlander Hunter, a Rogue, which looks like it is more focused on just the secret package, or the stealth, excuse me, just the stealth stuff, not the secrets like we saw in the previous series, as well as another warrior, but this time this is an egg warrior. So still can kind of be aggressive, but has some more kind of a little bit control tools and armor smiths like we're used to seeing with the skippers. So not just pirates, but egg warrior here. A little bit interesting. So I feel like we're seeing quite a bit of this warrior, rogue, hunter, but a little bit of a different lineup for Trojanator with the priest, hunter, and mage.
Yeah, it is very interesting that Trojanator has taken more of this, I would say, control approach. And it's kind of definitely a battle right now of like what's going to be better, the more aggressive kind of lineups or the more control kind of lineups. Bans haven't come through quite yet. So I don't want to sit here and speculate too much about what those bans could be, but I am super interested to see whether or not we're going to even see the priest at all on the board. I don't know. I agree with you. I don't know if we've quite seen enough priests on the Supergirl Gamer Pro broadcast. Not enough primes, that's for sure.
Yeah, it is a little bit interesting. I mean, warrior, especially egg warrior, is just severely unfavored against priest, and the rogue a little bit unfavored as well. The only good matchup is going to be the hunter into that priest. So we actually might see the priest banned, but it's so hard when there's also warrior and hunter being banned because those are also kind of at the top of the meta right now. So not banning warrior or hunter feels really weird. So I'm not sure. Maybe she hopes, but we'll see.
Well, we had our bans come through, Dawn. You were right about one thing, which was the priest getting banned from Trojanator. So no priest on deck for this next match. But it wasn't the hunter or the warrior that got hit with the ban hammer. It was actually the rogue. So Trojanator doesn't want that rogue to be played. So we won't actually see that as we get into our very first game in this set.
And it does look like it's actually going to be a Highlander Hunter mirror match, which, I mean, I've played a ton of Highlander Hunter, and to me, this matchup, this feels so difficult. There's been a lot of mirror matches over the course of Hearthstone's history, but it's, you know, it does seem like some matchups, it's fairly easy to kind of figure out what direction you want to take, but with these Highlander lists, it's, you know, there is sometimes a little bit of an inconsistency in how the game's played out, which makes it even more difficult to kind of come up with a consistent game plan in the mirror.
Well, how about Transfer Student? That's not a card that we see too often in the Highlander Hunter. So that's kind of like a very, or at least like in my experience with the Highlander Hunter, I haven't really seen Transfer Student as like a card up until kind of more recently.
Yeah,
I would say
it's become a more recent inclusion. But one thing with that is, especially even more recently, specifically this game board that we are seeing on screen right now, the Transfer Student is actually supposed to give you a dual class card on this game board, but because the dual class cards are not released yet, right now on this board, it's kind of just giving you a card from a random class instead of a random dual class card. So we did kind of see that priest card there pop into the hand for Linthesis. And so if anybody's like, where did that priest card come from? It came from that Transfer Student from this game board. So look, kind of interesting interaction that I think these players have kind of been, hopefully, been aware of and kind of know going into this match.
Yeah, that is really unique. This is, of course, the new board that's coming through with the expansion. It's going to be happening sometime this week. And that means for week 5, as Dawn mentioned previously, we're going to have a whole new meta that we're going to need to explore and unfurl as the weeks move on toward that championship October 3rd and 4th. It's going to be pretty wild in terms of what we get a chance to see in these next couple of weeks. But I have a feeling the meta is going to be shaken up quite a bit when we get these new cards.
Yeah, absolutely. There's going to be a lot of crazy things happening, I think. And I was just going to say, speaking of crazy things, we hadn't seen anything coming out from Trojanator, but a bit more of a crazy turn here now, being able to clear almost all of the whole board, but does have to use some resources that she probably would rather use somewhere else.
That was maybe a bit expensive, but at the same time, like, what else are you really going to use Unleash the Hounds for in this matchup? You're not running things like Snake Trap. That's not something that is in either deck list, so that would be a really great way to make the board go wide and get full value from that Unleash the Hounds. So I feel like that was a decent use of getting that card out there. Otherwise, it's almost like a dead reactionary card in hand.
Yeah, otherwise she's probably going to end up saving it. She does have the Varanus in hand, so the only other kind of thing, would be to save it. But that feels so far away at this point. She was on turn 3. You're not looking to play those together until turn 9. But she got her own transfer student down, tried to play the board a little bit, and setting that minion to 1 health kind of set up, I think, for either the Diving Griffin or drawing another rush minion with Scavenger's Ingenuity with that Zixor, and then being able to attack with the Zixor. But, I mean, the Zephrys coming into hand is pretty good, too.
I would say so. Can give you something. Like Urshock.
Urshock.
Oh, man.
Urshock on Twilight Drake. Like, name a more iconic duo.
I know.
It's so amazing.
It feels good if you're Trojanator. Probably doesn't feel too good if you're on the receiving end of that one.
Absolutely.
But, with the Varanus in hand, you feel a little safer to just go ahead and play out the Fairy Dragon. But I feel like this is where the matchup gets really tough, is these couple of turns. Trying to, posture on board, plus dealing with your opponent's board. And now we're getting into those turns where you can use multiple resources at a time in the Highlander Hunter deck. That you've got to be so careful moving into these next few.
Yeah, absolutely. And once you start getting to like 5, 6, 7, I mean, both players have got to be thinking about kind of those big threats where you're thinking about things like Rotten Astrate coming down if you leave just one thing on board. You're worried about Brand starting to come down and how much damage that can push. And yeah, it's kind of this back and forth dance about figuring out who can kind of situate the board just enough to be able to either prevent damage or be able to threaten to push all of the damage. So there is kind of a unique back and forth that goes on in these Highlander Hunter mirror matches. But yeah, this Diving Griffin going to be a really great answer here.
To play the Zixor or not to play the Zixor. I like playing it out.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely love getting this down because now if this Felmaw kills it, well, Trojanator is going to be that, well, and there we go. But that much closer to getting that Zixor Prime on board first. And without an answer of something like Varanus in combination with Unleash the Hounds or keeping that Spear on board when that Zixor comes down, then that just can really solidify the board for whichever player lands that Zixor Prime.
Ooh. Well, now this is where it gets interesting because Linthus just drew her Zixor. So now it's kind of a rush to get that out, but also Linthus has 2 pretty beefy minions on board. Yeah. And as we can kind of see from our caster vision, there isn't a whole lot that Trojanator can do to kind of deal with both, except next turn.
Yep.
That was a great draw for the Zixor Prime.
Yeah, and I love the way that Trojanator played this because she set this up exactly to do this like she wanted it, because that's the only beast that was in the deck. So it's the only thing she could have drawn. And when she saw those kind of rush package come into hand, where she had the Griffin from the beginning, she played the Griffin to draw the Zixor and then let the Zixor get killed off so that she could use that that ingenuity to draw Zixor Prime, which is now going to be buffed. And she draws it right in time to play on curve next turn and just, again, throw it down and pressure that board. Linthosys here looks like debating about this Frizz. Kind of drew a couple of the dragons she probably would have liked to get discounted, though.
Yeah, I feel like the Frizz is almost like a little bit late.
Although
but you're
it's
still
not
finding
bad.
value.
Yeah.
No, you're still finding value from it, so it's not too bad. Oh,
And-
but the Zixor is so
Yeah,
good.
it is. It's so good. I do like the setup from Linthosys, though, getting some more 5-attack things on board, because even this playing out the way it is right now, Linthosys still has this weapon, so she's going to be able to kill off a couple of these things at least to help clear up the board. And she can do that first and then play Rot Nest. I feel like this has been such a great game to watch in terms of both of these players knowing exactly what the other player wants to do and trying to save their own resources to combat the resources they're seeing their opponent play.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what you mentioned about this unique back and forth that happens in the Hunter mirror match, is that there's a call and response that has to come through from each player. But at a certain point, you hit that snowball point where you are finally able to roll with the punches and like roll with that momentum that you've generated throughout the game.
Absolutely. And there were some interesting choices from that Discover there, but I love this taking of the Cobalt Spellkin. Right now in the meta, in Standard, there are only Basic, Classic, and 4 expansion sets of cards. So the 1-cost spell pool is pretty limited at the moment, which I think that's another reason why we've been seeing this Cobalt Spellkin in so many decks, because you kind of really limit the choices. So you kind of know what you're going to be getting. And with Hunter here, there's actually a maximum of 4 damage she can find from this. So that's another 4 damage potential that she can find. Unfortunately, didn't find it, but it's really a great sign that she knows what she's looking for in this matchup. And on Linthosys' side, ooh, that was a little bit of a tongue twister. On the other side of the board, though, setting up that Divine Shield on this Rot Nest with that Stormhammer equipped is just so sweet.
Yeah, it really is. Like, when you think about the Stormhammer and the wonderful things that it does in terms of not losing durability if you have control of a dragon, like, protecting the Rot Nest means that you can just kind of keep smacking away, especially when you're looking at the 2/3 that's on board. But the Zixor Prime is also such a great response as well.
Absolutely. And now this is that spot that we were kind of talking about where Linthosys has turned the game in her favor now, and she's putting on that pressure. And we saw Trojanator use that Unleash the Hounds, pretty early in the game. So now how does she answer this? She has this Varanus. Maybe she draws the Bran. It's not going to be enough.
No,
she can use the Wrath with it, but I mean...
Oh, it's so close. Literally 2 off for both of these players.
Yeah.
It doesn't get any better than that in terms of the first game of the series.
And even that in a Grand Slam coming into hand there.
Oh, do you do it?
Oh, no. Just gonna do it for that last bit of damage. Oh my gosh.
Oh man, the roll right there. That's so fun.
That's right.
Yeah, that's the Highlander Hunter matchup is now out of the way. where we did get a chance to see Linthesis take that one. Now Linthesis has to win with the aggro, egg warrior. Yep.
Versus a Highlander mage or a Highlander hunter for Trojanator. Well, feels a little tough to me. Let's see. Looks like she's sticking with that hunter. I don't mind it. If the warrior can also get off to a bad start, the hunter can push a lot of damage.
Absolutely. Let's see what we get from the mulligan here.
This honestly looks like great curves for both players.
I was gonna say, this honestly looks like a pretty fast start for both. A good curve. Oh, coin early. That would be very interesting.
You know, some of these matchups, this is interesting too. With Linthesis having the coin, there could be an argument to just playing out the skipper on turn one. You don't want to do that very often, but against Hunter, they're not very likely to have a way to clear it, especially without coin. Really, the only answer would be having a corrosive, which we see Trojanator doesn't have, but Linthesis holding it back, got the other kind of combo stuff in hand, so I like saving it here. She chose to play that Corsair Cache last turn, so I'm gonna go right into an on-curve weapon here, but again, we kind of talked about this in the previous week, where this is the exact example of or the biggest example of where that nerf to Corsair Cache, not adding an attack here.
It really does, because if it had added the attack, then it's an easy clear. But also, the Zephyrs have found an ooze. That weapon's gone. Like we lost Dawn for a little bit, so I'm gonna go ahead and just jump in right here until we get Dragon Rider back. Risky skipper play coming through from Linthesis, which gets a lot of armor up from this Armor Smith that you can combo with it, and because of all of the damage minions on board, that allows Linthesis to get out this Blood Boil Brute, so it's going to be able to take out this demon very, very easily. I think we got Dragon Rider back.
I'm back. All right. Sorry about that. Well, there are some things on board now. I don't know what I missed, but look at this.
Yeah, you didn't miss. I was able to play by play it a little bit here. What you missed was a pretty clean combination coming out from Linthesis with the Risky Skipper and the Armor Smith, and then because of all the damage minions on board, Blood Boil Brute was able to come down for 1 mana in that turn. So that was just like a really, really nice clear for Linthesis to be able to get the value trade in, and then also be able to take control of this board. And the Rampage in hand, looking real juicy right now.
Rampage and being able to copy it, that's just... I mean, I think the argument to maybe is this the best play? Although I still think it's probably just going to go for it. Is what we actually see coming out from Troyanator here. We have we see the Varanus in hand along with this spear that's already equipped. So Troyanator going to be able to clear the board if she really wants to, but going to go for a little bit of a difference here, which, you know, I like this here, especially ending up pulling the Misha.
I like it, but I almost think you wish you had Huffer at this point, actually, because Huffer would have been a full board clear, sending that 4 damage to the other Blood Boil Brute.
It's very true.
So like, yeah, at least like puts up a. You didn't get Leok. You had a 1 in 3 chance of rolling something you really didn't want.
Yeah. So I do like that play because it was a 66% chance. The Varanus also could have cleared, but maybe she would have had to take 8 to the face. So she saved some phase damage by doing it this way instead, which still ended up working out pretty well for her, I think. I can't imagine, unless Linthesis had like a second Rampage in hand, that would kind of really be the punish, I think. But
ooh, the second inner rage coming through to just be able to clear out the Misha.
Yeah.
Wow, sending 8 damage to face.
But now, easy clear here. I mean, the Varanus and the Guardian even can clear, or just hitting face with the spear and then trading in the 1/1. This Varanus now really getting this clear down. And Troyanator taking back the board a little bit, no matter which way she plays this. Linthesis kind of stuck with an awkward hand here. A coin. I mean, she's not going to get value out of this now. And that was the second inner rage, right?
It was the second inner rage that came through.
Yeah. I mean, even like saving it to try to draw into Grommash and do like coin Grommash inner rage on turn 7 is just out of the question. Ooh, in a really passive turn.
Yeah, that doesn't feel super great when you know that you have when you have given up so much space now.
Yeah.
Whoa. Just like that, Troyanator's kind of flipped the script a little bit in this game. When Linthesis is sort of out of resources, you can maybe try to get some bombs down with the Bomb Wrangler and see if you can make that work. But there's so many ways that you just don't find full value from that Bomb Wrangler anymore. You don't have a risky skipper in hand to be able to make those boom bots, and I don't know.
Yeah, I just don't think there's really enough going on in this hand for Linthesis here. I mean, I guess just playing this out and doing a hero power kind of, I mean, either forces a trade, which I don't feel like a trade's going to happen, or it just hopes to soak up the 5 damage from Dragonbane.
Ooh. Well, there's 14 damage on board, plus the 15 from the weapon, and 2 more coming in from the hero power, so that's 17. You're just missing the 1 damage. I think if this Dragonbane goes face, you do have the damage on board, but nope, it hits the Terron.
I think Troyanator was hoping for a couple of her damage things from the deck. You know, maybe finding, Bran is pretty much always great, right? You always kind of hope to find Bran, but even, finding Stormhammer would have been a little bit of extra damage. I feel like there were quite a few things there she could have found, but didn't end up finding it. And yeah, kind of like you mentioned, just went for the out that maybe she got the 50-50 and hit that 5 damage to face, but did not work out this time. But she's still able to just, she has the board here.
Yeah, Livewire Lance, Bloodsworn Mercenary. In this situation, we can see whether or not you roll maybe the Titanic Lackey here from the Livewire. Is that the only thing that saves it? Yeah.
I mean, maybe discovering a spell and discovering Brawl would be an out there, but that, I mean, at any point you just have to go for the outs there. But that means that it is now tied 1-1.
We are tied 1-1, which means we're going to match point between these two players. It is going to be the Egg Warrior from Linthesis versus the Highlander Mage from Trojanator as our third and final game of the set. I feel as though Linthesis had such a strong start and then just kind of ran out of resources after that big clear came through. And even though it was able to push 16 damage with just the Bloodboil Brutes alone, with the Rampage and the Bloodsworn Mercenary combination, I just think that Trojanator was able to hold out before those big key combos, and that's how the Hunter does it. That consistency.
Yeah, absolutely. And the draws, we've kind of seen this a couple times tonight, but I think the draws for Linthesis just didn't pan out, and kind of having that coin stuck in hand as well just was not a card that she was looking to have. But she's gonna try to go for a win with the Warrior this time up against, like you mentioned, Trojanator's Highlander Mage.
The Highlander Mage is super interesting, very heavy-ended, I would say. But I mean, that's just kind of how the Highlander Mage functions. But you have Alexstrasza, Dragon Queen Alexstrasza, Calicos, Puzzle Box of Yogg-Saron, and the Amazing Reno rounding out the top end of the deck. And still, like, a lot of pieces need to come into play for this Highlander Mage. Like, I would say even like Doomsayer really early could be a great way to kind of stop some of the pressure coming through from Linthesis. It doesn't really surprise me that we saw a pretty big mulligan come through, but we're seeing a lot of top end in the deck, in the hand already for Trojanator.
Yeah, so the interesting thing in this matchup is I think even if we had seen a Doomsayer early from Trojanator, I think she would have mulliganed it away. And the reason for that is that the Wormhole Challenger is just the perfect answer into a Doomsayer.
That's true.
Yeah. Overall in this matchup, I think the Warrior is going to be a little bit unfavored. So she's going to kind of have to find the key cards, but it does look like her hand is, I would say, a little bit better this game than last game. She just found an egg. She's got a possible Skipper and Bomb Wrangler combo for next turn. I think Linthesis is a little bit more set up this game than I think she was last game, but Trojanator does have some answers here. I mean, if she wants to this turn even, she could coin and play the Zephyrus to find an Ooze and get rid of that weapon.
Or just coin Bone Wraith.
Yeah, coin the Bone Wraith is fine too, I think, and it's going to make it a little bit more tricky for Linthesis to clear.
Yeah, I mean, maybe risky Skipper combo. I want to see what this Lackey is first. I really like the ordering here. Just be able to use up the last charge of the weapon. And Wormhole Challenger to finish it off. I like that. The only thing about the Wormhole Challenger, so like one of the big things that I like, and you can see the other piece of it in hand, is the Rampage. And with the Doomsayer and the Wormhole Challenger, I actually think it's not too bad because you don't actually allow this Wormhole Challenger to be attacked. You don't take any damage. I don't know. It's. I guess you're right. It's kind of a tough call. Huh. I'm just thinking back to that. I don't know why I'm stuck on it.
Yeah, I think if you look at the HS replay stats, Doomsayer is a fairly bad card in this matchup. And Wormhole Challenger is the biggest thing, especially if you do play it out early. The Warrior being able to kind of get a combo off, like you mentioned, getting the Wormhole Challenger out early and being able to potentially buff it up with a Rampage.
Yeah, I suppose you're in a rage.
Yeah, there's just so many tools that the Warrior has to be able to damage it a little bit and then buff it or copy it. And then all of a sudden the warrior has so much health on the board that it makes it really awkward for the mage to deal with. You know, even Reno on 6, like it can have way too much health on board. It kind of plays around the rolling fireballs. So that's kind of why it's not as great in this matchup. But you see here, Linthus is kind of going wide finally with this skipper, and this is the kind of board that she was really looking for last game.
Oh yeah. Risky skipper plus the bomb wrangler plays gets you so many boom bots, and being able to send those face is just extra damage. And I think you're right about Linthus being really well set up this game in particular. I'm just looking at the battle rage in hand and seeing how much that's going to do for this next turn too.
Absolutely. And I mean, from our end here with our caster vision, we see Trojanator does not have Reno going into this turn 6. It's going to be... I feel like it's going to be a little awkward unless she really draws something good to do on turn 6 here. She might have to just play out this Mana Saber and do another ping, but if Linthus throws down a buff... Oh... That's not a bad draw.
Nope. Malygos Aspect of Magic is not usually a bad draw.
Yeah.
I think that Malygos is... Well, you can't play it this turn. That's kind of the problem. Do you set yourself up for the easy clear next turn with the Flame Strike, or do you go for kind of like the spread damage with the... It's hard choice here. I feel like you're choosing between Explosion and Flame Strike.
Yeah. I don't mind the Flame Strike. Yeah. No, she's going to go for the Fireball. Maybe she thinks that Terran is going to be coming down, and I don't think she's going to want to be killing a Terran, though. I wonder if she was actually looking for finding like a Polymorph or Frostbolt there to be able to play this turn, and just didn't find it. Second Livewire Lance coming down here.
Buffed up by that Corsair's Cache. Oh, I was going to say Rampage. Your Bomb Wrangler, I think
it's really good.
Yeah, that's the play.
Yeah.
Well, when you're looking at like the Serpent Eggs that are in hand too, and you also have found, you know, I just yeah, I don't think you're worried about this Varanus. Or sorry, that's not what that is. Malygos.
Yeah.
They're both blue, okay? Or I think they are.
The Sayamat here can do a Rush Divine Shield and clear off that Bomb Wrangler. Soak up some bomb damage potentially here. But maybe it's just a bump into this 2-1. But these minions on board for Trojanator both have a lot of health, and those are going to be really great at soaking up this bomb damage. But, this draw. How much damage can she push here? She can push a lot of damage.
Yeah, there's the Kor'kron Elite that just came into hand. So that's already 4 right off the bat. If you get lucky with some of your bomb rolls, then maybe you have enough for lethal. I see the Execute as well. I feel like the game plan is calculate how much damage you can do. But then also think about whether or not you need to find an out, like using an Execute.
I think she goes for it. I think she goes for it this turn. She can get down the Kor'kron, Inner Rage. She can play the Terran as well, clear off the bombs. I mean, there's so many things she can do here, but I don't even mind just going for the... for lethal outs.
Skipper. Let's find out where these go. Oh, 1? They both go face! 4 damage, plus the 2 from the Cobalt Lackey. Doesn't go face.
She can play the Terran.
Yeah, she can still play the Terran.
Oh, just gonna go for lackeys. And where's this bomb hit?
Face 1 damage. No.
Oh, that was intense.
That was super, super intense. I mean, now you almost like get forced into Power of Creation here to try to find a stopping method. Some kind of taunt.
The safeguard.
Ooh, do you have to pick safeguard? I think you have to.
Yeah. And then try to clear some of this. Yeah, just bump in. Does she bump? Oh, I was going to say, does she bump into the bomb? Does she do it?
Oh, I think you have to.
Okay, it didn't hit face.
Did not hit face.
I mean, the taunt pickup off of that Power of Creation was exactly what Trojanator was looking for. And then, I mean, from our end here, we can see this charge in hand and now picks up to be able to make a copy of it, but not going to be able to get through all of the taunts there. Gonna have to find another way to kind of work through these taunts. Start with seeing what lackeys she finds.
I like that play. I think that's a Draconic Lackey that just came into hand. Ooh, but okay, Safeguard honestly ended up being kind of like the perfect choice. Not just because it's a taunt minion, obviously, but because you also get a secondary option off of it.
I mean, Kartut might have been slightly better just to also get the healing, but I mean, if she had to find a taunt or no taunt, she's definitely happy to find a taunt.
Nah, the taunts are gone, though, with the Bloodsworn Mercenary Enrage play. So, do you just use Alex here to be able to heal? Yeah, I think you have to.
Yep, and trade into one of these 6/2s. Hope
that
it's...
is... Yeah, hope it's enough.
Yeah.
Corsair's Cash. I believe that draws the Ankar.
Yep. Yeah.
So that's still 10 damage on board. Just gonna push your face.
On the wings of
Interesting dragon choices. Maybe just Bigglewhelp? Yeah, she wants to be playing more of the aggressive side, so I don't think she's gonna go for like something like Alexstrasza there. But sets Trojanator back to 5.
Oh, another taunt comes into hand, though.
This is so tough. There's so many options here. Trojanator can go with the Caligos to try to find a spell. She can go with the Dragon Queen Alexstrasza and be able to play one of the other dragons. She could just go with the taunt and make a clear here. Ooh, the Flame Ward is not bad at all. The Arcane Breath also, though, can clear and try to find another answer. The Flame Ward right now actually would end up killing that egg, which maybe she doesn't want that.
Yeah, that would be lethal on board.
I mean, it does feel like it kind of guarantees a little bit more of a board clear, whereas the Arcane Breath is going to be what she goes for, but it's going to be another Discover, so she's going to have to hope to find something here. Ooh, those are some somethings.
Those are some somethings.
3 damage on board. Oh, and there it is.
I was just wondering when the Grommash was going to come into hand, and even though you don't have all the pieces to be able to make it like enraged and then charge, you still have the charge function. So, congratulations to Linthesis for taking that series 2-1.
Yeah, absolutely. Just being able to finally kind of get the hand she was looking for with that Egg Warrior and be able to stay on board and Linthesis just just being able to push all of that damage. And then Trojanator on Mage that last game, just not able to really find quite enough to keep up. But still got some points. Still got some points there.
Oh, yeah. So Charginator's still going home with 25 points, which gives her 150. So still pretty heavily within that top 8 that could be going to the championships in San Diego, California. But Linthesis has now secured at least 50. So before we even got into this series, we were kind of talking about how Linthesis was trailing Trojanator by 1 slot on the top 8. But now has a chance to even go past that with the next couple of games. So we have already blown our way through top 8. So we shall be back with more action for top 4 when we come back after this break.
So I'm gonna hold on promoting you this quarter. Cool?
Drop the taco. Get in the car. Does this Sentra feel like a compromise to you?
Wait, what?
The handling, it's good, right? No compromise there.
Nope. Watch this.
Brake. Rear automatic braking. So if this Nissan Sentra isn't going to compromise, why should you? You're right. Atta girl.
The all-new Nissan Sentra with more standard safety features than any other car in its class.
It's not just the ships, the armor, or the aircraft. It's something more. It's the will to fight and determination to win, found inside each and every Marine that answers a nation's call. Battles won.
You can trade all the games, accessories, consoles, and tech you don't use anymore to get cash or store credit at GameStop. Check out the Trade Center on the GameStop app, visit GameStop.com/trade, or talk to a guest advisor at your local GameStop store to see how much your trades are worth.
We lied. We're not jumping into top 4. We're actually going to be jumping into another top 8 match, which means more Hearthstone action. Get excited. So we're going to go straight into the game. It's Revi versus Valera Light, where Valera Light already has a 1-0 advantage, but it kind of looks like Revi's going to be changing that around already.
Yeah, it looks like it. And I'm going to double check this deck list because, okay. This rogue list, just to clarify, did not start with this
Elysiana?
Archivist Elysiana. Yeah. I double checked. There's no Elysiana in the deck list. So this got generated, but we see Revi taking a win there with Warlock. And I just we didn't get a chance to jump into the decks, but Revi looks like started with a Hunter, this Zoo Warlock, and a Murloc Paladin, and then Valera Light with a Highlander Hunter, Rogue, and Warrior. Warrior being banned for Valera Light, the Hunter being banned for Revi. So Revi taking a win with that Warlock means we're going to jump into the next game with Revi having to take a win with the Murloc Paladin. And Valera Light looks like, with that one win already in playing, Rogue must have to win with the Rogue here.
Very interesting, especially when you take a look at how many tools the Rogue has in the early game to be able to kind of disrupt that aggression from a Murloc Paladin. Like, you look at backstab, you look at the ability to use eviscerate, even like I would say like the spy mistress being able to just stealth itself and then come out later. There's just so many different ways. Even the seal fate, like there's so many ways that I feel like Valeera Light can kind of answer a board. So it kind of comes down to whether or not Valeera actually is able to mulligan or draw for those cards, and then how fast of a start does Revy get off to with this Murloc Paladin?
Yeah, I was gonna say, especially early in the game for the rogue, if Valeera Light as the rogue is able to find those tools and kind of keep up early with the 1-for-1, but if Revy can get out on board with multiple Murlocs at a time, it might be really rough for Valeera Light to try to keep up with that wide board without potentially discovering something that clears a wide board, because a lot of times Rogue just has trouble dealing with wide boards. They're pretty good with dealing with something one at a time, but yeah, I could imagine Revy is probably going to try to get off with a fast start. The only trouble with that is going to be if Valeera does keep up with an early start and Revy gets into a position where she's just kind of top decking and can't really find a lot. Revy might not be able to keep up with what the rogue is doing once it kind of switches over to that mid to later game.
Yeah, that's a really good point to make, that the rogue struggles with these wider boards. I feel like shooty lackeys are going to have to be a big component in this next matchup. Like, I feel like of all the lackeys that you're really looking for from your Galakrond, it's going to be those shooty lackeys.
Yeah, those and Titanic lackeys, or even the Goblin lackey to rush. I mean, anything that just fights for a board, you're not really going to want to be looking for spells or dragons, but those board-focused lackeys are going to make a huge difference in this matchup. So there is a little bit of that kind of lackey RNG that we might see. But you did mention the Spy Mistress, and again, we've seen a couple different rogue lists. Valeera Light does have that stealth package. There's no secrets or anything, so going to be relying on those double questing adventures. So maybe if Valeera can kind of land even a mid-sized board with like some questing adventures and some smaller things, that's going to really be able to get the board. But
looks like Revy might have already taken a win with the Murloc Paladin. So Revy took the series. That's going to be it for you got 2 seconds of Hearthstone action. And now we gotta go to another break, I guess. So we'll see you guys on the flip side of that, but we'll have more Hearthstone action for you very, very soon. might have missed it. So that's why we're going to be following Revy into the top 4 for the next series. But before we get into what our top 4 match is going to be, just want to remind you all watching at home that you can get involved. The whole mission and importance of the Supergirl Gamer Pro series is to support more women in gaming. So we have this wonderful Supergirl Gamer Pro 2020 circuit for Hearthstone, League of Legends, and Counter-Strike Global Offensive to be able to be a part of that movement and change the culture. So what we want you guys to do at home is tell your friends and spread the word about the Supergirl Gamer Pro circuit so that more people can get involved and more people can watch. We've had some intense gameplay so far for these last 4 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of some matches that we do have coming up, let's take a look at the bracket. You mentioned about following Revy up to this top 4, so let's take a look at how she ended up getting there and kind of who else is in contention for these playoff spots here.
Yeah, we've seen Linthesis versus Trojanator on stream. We hopped into Revy versus Valera Light for just a second, but Nysil is going to be Revy's opponent for the next match. So we'll be jumping into that momentarily, but actually we're just going to go ahead and jump into it now. So before we go ahead and do that, let's talk through some of these deck choices that we have coming through from Nysil and Revy for this top 4. We've got Hunter on both sides, but everything else is a little different.
Yeah, absolutely. So for a split second, we did kind of talk about Revy's decks already. So again, just Highlander Hunter, the Murloc Paladin, and the Zoo Galakrond Warlock. And from Nysil here, again, Highlander Hunter looks like a Stealth Rogue, and then the kind of Wrench Caliber Bomb focused warrior that's also running Galakrond to kind of finish off the game with that hero power. And I do want to mention that Nysil didn't end up playing in our first week tournament, but she has played the last 2 weeks, and each of those 2 weeks she has taken second place. So again, she's in the top 4 now. I think she's hungry for that first place spot. I think she's looking for it.
I think she is as well, but that's going to be very interesting because Revy, once again, it's again kind of the matchup of like the aggressor versus the oppressor in a lot of ways. As we've seen in most of our matches today, that's kind of come to fruition with the aggressor sort of taking the win in a lot of these situations. So it'll be super interesting to kind of to see what the bans are for this specific matchup, and then get into game. But before we do that, I want to go ahead and thank all of our sponsors. If we haven't done that enough already, let's do it again, shall we? I would just want to say thank you so much to Nissan, to the Air Force, to Zenny, to the U.S. Marine Corps, and to GameStop for even allowing us to have these tournaments at all. It's been such a fantastic 4 weeks already in terms of what we've got a chance to see coming through, but it wouldn't be possible at all if we didn't have these incredible sponsors.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like every single week we've actually had more players even signing up to play in these tournaments. So that just shows that there is an interest for this. There are players out there, there are women out there who want to compete, who want to try these tournaments, who are ready to jump in and do that. And this gives them the perfect chance to be able to do that. So without the sponsors, without everybody hanging out in chat or just watching these and supporting, it really does mean a lot to us and the players and everybody involved.
It really does. Well, now that we've gotten our thank yous out of the way, let's get into the game, shall we? It's going to be Nysil versus Revy, where we have Revy's Highlander Hunter banned out, and it's going to be Nysil's Warrior that is not going to be in play for this series. But we'll see that Revy is starting things out with this Murloc Paladin, and Nysil has the Rogue.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like this is a fairly close matchup. I'm going to go ahead and actually kind of pull up some HS replay stats and check it out. But we kind of already talked in the kind of what we expected to see in the previous match. But this is pretty much the same thing we were just talking about. It's really going to depend on draws and getting on board and the kind of tools that the rogue can find to answer the Murlocs.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Murgurgo Prime already in the deck. But this, interestingly enough, I feel like the questing adventurers are just like so powerful in this deck. But we didn't actually get a chance to see them in the other version of the Galakrond Rogue that we've seen earlier. But this is kind of why they've been so dominant. How does Revy deal with it?
And that's the thing is, looking at the stats as well, it does look like the Murloc Paladin is actually slightly unfavored in this matchup. But, I mean, it plays like this as well. You know, Nysil being able to get something out on board early like this that Revy has to put multiple things into. And as the aggressor, like you kind of mentioned, trading, especially trading multiple times, is not the direction that Revy wants to be playing this game. She wants to be sending those minions and all of that damage face. She doesn't want to be spending her time and her minions trading. And Nysil forcing her to do that is very good for Nysil here.
Yeah, it's super good. This is kind of where Nysil really wants to be on curve, because you've got Shield of Galakrond coming up next, and then also in a position where you're forcing Revy to have to trade. Cold Lyseer would have been great to be able to play on this turn, but now you're really only kind of running the risk of like, do you play out, because you already used the coin, you can really only play out your Murloc Tidehunter here, maybe Hand of It All.
Yeah. I mean, I feel at this point that Revy is already just behind on board. So no matter what she gets down on board, it's probably going to die. So I like playing the Hand of It All here just to start getting a little bit more draw going and maybe trying to force out something. A Seal Fate would answer this so cleanly, but I don't even think Nysil needs to do that at this point. She might even Shadow Step the Ping Lackey there.
Well, yeah, why not? Like, that would be a nice nice extra bit of damage, but I feel like you don't need it either. Oh no, yeah, just go for the clear.
Yep. I mean, this also prevents Revy from kind of buffing it up or doing anything to get an easy clear. So yeah, against Murlocs, like really just keeping their board clear and preventing Murlocs from sticking on the board is one of the best ways to beat them. And yeah, Nysil has all of the tools to be able to do that. She's got a board, she's got more answers in hand, and she looks pretty far ahead to me.
Yeah. Looking pretty good right now, and
even Grandmummy, that's good on a board focused matchup like this. Yeah. Do you feel the need to play the Eviscerate here? It feels too clunky to me, or like you want to save it a little bit for some of those bigger Murlocs.
I'd probably save it.
Mummy needs 5 more minutes.
Aw. That Grandmummy already coming down, though.
Yeah.
And there's another full board clear for Nysil.
Does she Witchy Lackey the shield? Oh, she's going to.
Ooh.
Oh no. Oh, that was not what she was hoping for.
No, definitely not. Well, because you don't get the battle cry, so...
Yeah. I mean, it's actually, like, in this position in the game, though, it's not that bad, because it still also sticks this Lackey on board, and now with this Togwaggle coming into hand, it's just that much more likely that Nysil now gets the Togwaggle value. So I like just getting it down. It is a little bit unfortunate on rolling a 2-2 instead of having a 4-4 taunt. But Revy just going all in now, playing everything out and in complete top deck mode at this point.
And that's where you said we might start to see some problems for this Murloc Paladin in this matchup, is like when you're going into top deck mode. If Nysel is able to clear off all of this, then, you know, what gas does Revy have left in the tank? Even holding on to the Eviscerate was such a good call because Nysel can use it now to be able to clear off the Tidecaller.
Yeah. And Nysel just, I mean, she's had board every single turn. I'm not sure. I guess at this point, trying to draw into that McGurgle Prime is out maybe for Revy, but it's going to be really tough otherwise.
Yeah. Oh, do you even just Horde Pillager here?
Yeah. Feels so bad.
Not great, especially when
No.
there's another Cobalt Lackey in hand.
Such easy board control for Nysel. Like once she was able to kind of get up on the board, she has just maintained that board control the whole time.
Tapping and Cold Lyseering
Yeah.
here just doesn't
Not-
feel like a good play. Because like
No.
the Shield of Galakron is such a wall to have to get through. And now Nysel can even just kind of find maybe even the last bit of damage here with Wondrous Wand. Ooh, what?
Okay, she can find some more lackeys. I mean, at this point, though, like, Nysel can just play this however fast or slow she wants to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, she's just so far ahead in terms of how much she's drawn. She's ahead on board. She's got stuff in hand. Like, yeah, I just don't even see a way that Revy tries to turn this game around here. But Nysel just kind of going in with everything here. Yeah, I think Revy recognizes this is about it.
When you don't have a board as the Murloc Paladin, I feel like that's probably about where you say, I don't know if I can get through it. Even with the McGurgle Prime.
Yeah.
And I feel like just the top deck of the Toxfin with nothing on board to actually activate it. It just kind of seals the deal here. So Nysel goes up 1-0 in the series so far, taking a pretty early win with the Galakron Rogue, but now has to win with the Highlander Hunter against two
and-
very fast decks.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, I feel like these are both probably favored against the Hunter. We might still just even see the Murlocs come out again, because generally the Murlocs are brought for this matchup. I think we've seen it in the past, and it did kind of falter a little bit, but it really just depends. If Revy can get that start and stick a board, it's going to look pretty good for the Murlocs, but
Yeah, the Murlocs, like I again, kind of as we've discussed already, it didn't quite get off to the start that it wanted to have, even in an unfavored matchup versus the Galakron Rogue. You're still looking for more to stick, but Galakron Rogue just has so many good answers in the early game, and. In those first couple of turns, you're not really able to put down more than 1 or 2 minions at a time. So it works out super well. And as you predicted, Revy's running with the Murloc Paladin again.
Yeah. And this interaction is really cool too. I love, even though this Sungill is dormant, the Tidecaller still gets the buff. So neat little interaction there. Kind of try to get a fast little start here. I don't even mind the ingenuity.
Yeah, not bad. It draws the Zixor, so that is going to be one Ingenuity, the only copy of Ingenuity used because we're in Highlander deck. Had to stop myself for a second, but I don't mind it either. Even though you almost kind of hope to use that for the Zixor Prime, just because it gets that big buff. I don't mind using it now because it's just like such early damage and such early removal.
Yeah, and the way it plays on curve perfectly into drawing a 3-drop and then being able to clear, and again, try to get on board and stick a board against this Murloc, that we kind of just saw from last game. I really like that play here. And more resources Nysil can use next turn, but Revi kind of anticipating and played out that minion last turn. So I did like that play from Revi as well, kind of anticipating what was going to be coming out from Nysil because that Ingenuity play.
Oh, but the Bone Wraith? To be able to stop this board. Oh, but the True Silver Pippin.
Yeah, great draw. Great draw for Revi. And this is kind of that point we were talking about. Now Revi is starting to stick a board, able to kind of make a couple of clears. And Nysil is now going to be the one that really has to answer each and every board from behind.
Transfer Student comes through.
All right.
Yeah, but the board's so sticky. Oh my gosh.
Both of these plays, I think, either the Navigator or the Scale Lord are both pretty good here. Like, either way, I feel like Revi is sticking a board here.
This is what a casualty of the
It's-
pandemic looks like. Gem Spa, a corner store in New York's East Village, here for a century, gone in just months. And I just couldn't.
Does she go for the Divine Shields? Okay. I'm just going to go for the Divine Shields here. And does she clear off the Transfer Student with a weapon?
I think you just go for the clear. Wait, actually though, do you need to push that damage? I'm trying to calculate right now. No, I think you're okay to save it, and like if your board sticks, then yeah, I think you're okay. Come on. 9. You have your Felfin Navigator in hand too. Oh, do you have to? No, I was gonna.
Does Nysil have to kill off this dragon here?
I mean, have to.
Yeah, she wants to be killing off the Murlocs, but there's also just 5 damage sitting right there in front of her, in addition to the Murlocs, and that's pretty scary too. She has to double trade into what look like very small Murlocs right now. Double trade with the 1 minion and her face to get actually to kill one of the Murlocs, but yeah, I like just clearing this here.
Yeah, Transfer Student trade. Get one of these Divine Shields down. Oh, but you just drew Toxfin and you still have the Felfin Navigator. Plus you have your Fish Flingers. There's so many ways I feel like Revi just kind of holds onto this board. And then it just starts to snowball out of control.
I'm a little curious about that. I wonder if she would have liked to actually Divine Shield or make the poisonous on one of the Divine Shields, but I guess it would just get cleared by the weapon. And this kind of protects the Murlocs a little bit more. forces an awkward answer from Nysil. So
Yeah.
I think that's what she was going for with not putting the poisonous on one that had Divine Shield.
I think that's a safer bet.
Yeah.
Because
It's
like
probably going to
Diving
give her...
Griffin too.
Yeah.
You have to sack something into these Divine Shields now.
Yeah, I was going to say it gives her more value in the long run, which is exactly what you're talking about, where now there's this double trade thing instead of just getting the value from the poisonous, and then, it gives Nysil kind of that easier answer of, okay, well, I'm just going to clear that with the weapon or this one single thing that's going to die anyways.
This is the awkward part. You have to use
Yeah.
Diving Griffin for something. I almost think it's best to just clear off the Felfin. Yeah. Alright, this is a more manageable board now.
Yeah, I kind of like this Plague of Madness here too, like forcing Revi to lose that 4 attack, heal for 2 weapon. But now we just see the Angling Rod come into hand, so maybe Revi ends up using that instead. Oh, another Toxfin.
Do you Fish Flinger again though and see if you find that last bit of damage though?
I think so.
Because there's 9 damage just presenting itself.
Yeah.
If you get 1 buff.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Couldn't find it. Yeah, because there was a chance she could have found a War Leader and had the exact mana to play it.
Yep. That's kind of what I was thinking too, but this works. I don't see Unleash the Hounds.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, we already used
Zixor
Brandis,
Prime,
so-
not enough. Yeah. I'm not seeing how Nysil answers this here. I don't think any of it is enough. I think it still leaves too much damage on board.
Yeah.
I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Because of the weapon. She could play this Zixor Prime that she just drew and clear off the 4 Murlocs that don't have Divine Shield, but it still leaves lethal with the 2 Divine Shield Murlocs and the weapon on board.
She's going for it.
Yeah. So, Revi getting the win out and even drawing the War Leader for extra damage there if she wanted. But
If she wants, but the
Yeah.
damage is already on board. So.
yeah. But she does tie it up, and she gets the win that the Murloc Paladin was really looking for into that Hunter. But also, like you mentioned, another aggressive matchup with bringing the Galakron Zoo Warlock. So this might be a little tough for Nysil on the Hunter here.
Yeah, the Hunter has some good answers. I'm kind of looking at like maybe drawing Dwarven Sharpshooter early, as a way to kind of deal with some of these smaller minions like the Mermy, like the Flame Imp, the Beaming Sidekick. But where things get a little bit difficult is like I don't think Desert Spear is quite enough to deal with a lot of these things without using your face. And with not a significant chunk of healing in the deck for this Highlander Hunter, you're kind of locked in a lot of ways. But I like that the Desert Spear is in hand just in case for some of these lackeys.
Yeah, I mean, as well as the Sharpshooter here that we're seeing come down. I mean, the Sharpshooter could potentially coin into the Spear if needed. The Og Merchant. There are some answers here for Nysil to kind of help build up as well into that mid game. But Revy not getting on board on turn 1 makes it feel like the zoo is off to a bad start to me, but I mean, then the turn 2 here was pretty nice.
Works for me. Oh, and you can beaming sidekick again?
Maybe tap, see what else you can find here.
Hey, I got you, friend.
Or the genius on the sidekick. Yeah, okay.
I like it. Like, the beaming sidekick is... It's almost like a lackey. It's almost just like a Titanic lackey in a lot of ways, except without giving you the taunt as well. So I kind of like that you can just go ahead and play out the Evil Genius early. But the Desert Spear, this is where I was like, I don't know if you need it or whether it's going to be like a really good thing. Sure, you have to use your face, but it does clear off these 2 health minions super well.
Yeah, I think one thing that we're really going to see this Desert Spear shine with is being able to actually attack with the Desert Spear and coin into that Faceless Corruptor next turn.
Oh,
I think that can swing the board really well for Nysil. But Revy going to try to go wide here and get out on board, which, you know, against a hunter, kind of the same thing as with Rogue. They generally have trouble dealing with the wide boards, but yeah, gonna coin out the Faceless and try to take back the board a little bit here.
Yeah, the Faceless Corruptor play is so good. It's so strong, and it leaves 2 pretty mid-sized bodies on board for Nysil to have to deal with. Sinister deal, not too bad, but I agree with you that Revy is not quite off to the start that we were kind of hoping to see in this matchup. Maybe the spell will change it.
Yeah. Well, Drain Life, maybe. Or just take the plot twist to try to just get something else.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly a play. You do have the Kobold Lackey, like you mentioned, to be able to deal with the, I would say, like, almost the 4-3? 4-2 gets targeted here.
I think this is fine, because this allows, if Nysil trades into one of the 1/1s next turn, Revy can follow up with that Drain Life that she just found to ping that off. So I think this is fine. Maybe really debating about where she wants to Witchy Lackey, but I think they're all the same result. Still some tools in hand for Nysil. It's Corrosive, the Og Merchant, plus the last charge of the Spear can really help clear up a lot of this board.
But then we're in a similar position as before, where Revy's top decking.
Yeah.
But Corrosive Breath comes through, just to clear out the Flame Imp. Deals 3 damage to face, because there is a dragon in hand. And not too bad to be able to clean this up. The lackeys are going to be gone from the last charge of the Desert Spear, plus a Locust that comes through, and then getting that value trade as well onto the Murloc.
Yeah. Now, one difference... Tikon... a little awkward right now. But one difference with this matchup here, even if Revy ends up getting into kind of that top deck position, like she was with the Murloc Paladin, that hero power is much better for a top decking spot, because that allows her to draw 2 cards every turn.
That's true.
Rather than the Murloc Paladin, which would just put a 1/1 out on board instead of allowing for more card draw. But now Nysil, again, we see she's just taking the board. Just like that first game.
Kronks comes into hand, but...
Is the Knife Juggler Fiendish Rites better? Or is the Kronks the way to go?
Looks like it's going to be the Knife Juggler and the Fiendish Rites.
I mean, maybe just picks off a little bit of board and she gets on board. It's not bad. Those were not the pings she was looking for.
I think she was hoping to clear off something, but I don't mind being able to clear off just the Divine Shield as well. It gives Nysil just a little bit less to work with in some ways. But Stormhammer is such a nice follow-up. And you can push that 5 damage to face.
Nope.
Or 7. Okay.
She's gonna take the value trades there, just kind of keep the board clear. But talking about kind of being in more of a top deck situation, we're seeing Nysil start to get to that point herself.
And nothing of big value. I almost wonder whether you use the tracking at all, but ooh, Goblin Lackey here.
Yeah, with this Takan does not look bad. She can rush in that rat to the 5/1 if she wants, or just rush in the Takan and leaves us some 4/4 stuff. Yeah, I like this a lot.
Ooh, big ol' whelp helps.
Lots of draw potential.
But do you hang on to the dragon just in case?
Oh,
that was fast. I don't tame our brand. Yeah, that is gonna be just exactly what Nysil ordered. The last 7 damage to be able to get the job done. Congratulations to Nysil. But, you know, commiserations to Revy. Making it to top 4 is no easy task when you have such incredible women playing in this bracket every single week. So Revy's going to be taking home 50 points. Was already the 4th spot. And also got first last week. So this is still very consistent showing coming out from Revy.
Yeah, absolutely. And that also means that Nysil now moving into the finals, into that top 2. Again, we kind of mentioned earlier, the previous 2 weeks, she has taken 2nd place each of those weeks. So we'll see if that's a repeat for 3 weeks in a row or if she kind of solidifies that 1st place finish. But before we get into any more matches for tonight, we are going to take another quick break. So thank you again for everybody hanging out, watching. We will see you in just a moment.
For a long time, we had to prove ourselves. But we always knew what we were capable of. We knew when the time came, we would be ready for anything. Our numbers keep rising. And so do we.
So I'm gonna hold on promoting you this quarter. Cool?
Drop the taco. Get in the car. Does this Sentra feel like a compromise to you? Wait, what? The handling, it's good, right? No compromise there. Nope.
Watch this.
Come on, breathe. Rear automatic braking. So if this Nissan Sentra isn't gonna compromise, why should you? You're right. Atta girl.
The all-new Nissan Sentra with more standard safety features than any other car in its class.
No one knows where it comes from. Why some have it and some don't. It's the fighting spirit. It consumes fear and weakness. It stands ready to fight whatever shape the battle takes. Because as long as there are battles, there will always be Marines.
survive. My body aches to be satisfied. My weakness comes and goes. My weakness comes and goes. I'm reaching out for the easy high. Please fortify this strength of mine. My weakness comes and goes. My weakness comes and goes.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We are going to be heading into the finals for tonight. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and take a look at the bracket to see how these players got to this point tonight. So our finals tonight is going to be Linthesis versus Nysil. And we did just see Nysil take that previous series. We saw Linthesis a little bit earlier in the match, or in the night tonight, but it looks like Linthesis did take down Melira to move into this final match. So really quickly, we start talking about the decks that we have for both of these players here. Linthesis on the Highlander Hunter, the Galakrond Rogue running that stealth package with the questing adventures, and the warrior that we saw earlier from her with that egg warrior. And Nysil, again, we just saw the match from Nysil, Highlander Hunter, the stealth rogue as well, questing adventures, and warrior. But the difference in these lineups is with these warriors, and the warrior list is the bomb warrior, kind of a little bit control-y. There's a lot of control tools like Blade Storm, the sword and boards for a little bit of damage and some armor gain, but it also is running this Galakrond at the top end, and we've kind of seen in previous weeks the Galakrond be used to kind of close out the game. Sometimes the bombs, even when there's multiple bombs being put in the deck, they're not always drawn, or they're not always as effective as what the bomb warrior is looking to do. So having that Galakrond in the top end kind of just helps to give a little bit more damage every turn with that hero power, being able to give the warrior 3 damage every turn guaranteed. So that's kind of like half a bomb already in that hero power by itself. So I'm really interested to see how these lineups work out and kind of which direction each of these women takes for a ban. We might even see just the warriors being banned out completely, and these players trying to go in for hunter and rogue wins. Let's take a look here, and I think we might have Necro back here.
I'm back. Sorry about
Welcome back. No problem. I think we're still waiting for bans, but kind of talking about the lineups a little bit. Pretty similar lineups overall, just the difference in the warrior decks with Linthesis bringing that egg warrior and Nysil having the bomb Galakrond warrior.
Oh yeah, would you look at that? That's very interesting that we do kind of see that coming through. I guess Hunter, Rogue, and Warrior was the play for this tournament this week.
Yeah. And kind of see the Warrior Rogue lineups kind of taking down a lot of these series tonight. Kind of, I would say, an in-between of what we've seen in previous weeks. Kind of that first week was a ton of Warrior Priest, and then kind of fast forward to week 3 that we had last week, there was a lot of aggro decks. There was like very fast matchups. And now we kind of have this in between with some warrior, some Highlander hunter, lots of rogue. A little interesting. It's been all over the map. And it's not going to slow down in these next couple weeks either.
Oh, I don't think so. Especially when you look at like kind of the new expansion that's going to be coming through. And almost every time we get an expansion, you try to find the thing that wins the fastest, I feel like. So it'll be really interesting to see what happens for week 5 in terms of getting in some of those newer cards and then seeing what people decide to theory craft for these tournaments. Like, what better way to try out new decks than to play in a tournament like this?
Yeah, absolutely. And the interesting thing with the way this is going to work out is the expansion is actually going to be coming out on Thursday, and then our tournament will be on Sunday, so only a couple of days for these players to kind of test not only one deck, but have to test multiple decks and come up with a lineup. But it looks like the bans have come through, and I'm seeing a warrior ban for Linthesis, and Nysil's Hunter has been banned. So we will get to see the bomb warrior. A little interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I am super excited about that. What an interesting pick, though, for Nysil to go ahead and say you're not allowed to use the Egg Warrior. I think that leaves us with the potential of one mirror match, which is going to be the Galakrond Rogue. And it's almost the exact, I think it's the exact same list.
I think so. Yeah, the rogues, but first game, not going to be a rogue mirror. It looks like it is going to be the rogue for Linthesis and Nysil on this bomb warrior. I'm not sure if we're just waiting on the mulligan here. All right. Both players have a few early things, which is pretty good here. So we're not going to see a lot of dead turns the first couple of turns. Something's going to be happening every turn.
Yeah. What a good start for Linthesis and this Galakrond Rogue. Being able to play the Pharaoh Cat super early, and then, oh, would you look at that? It's another Grand Mermy.
That grandma, we haven't seen a lot of slow things coming out from those cats today. They're being very generous, and not the bad generous with generous mummy. They're being the kind generous that you want to see.
Yeah. The Grand Mummy is definitely something that I like to see. I'm glad we've seen this like twice now. Especially when you're looking at trying to solidify a board so early, that Grand Mummy can really help. But I don't also mind this like coin out evil miscreant play, just to be able to get the lackeys into hand.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of coming into hand, Nysil picking up the second Corsair cache. And she did end up playing the first Corsair cache on curve on 2, drawing into the first French Caliber.
Oh,
and this is going to be a lot of bombs.
Yep. You wanted to see the Bomb Warrior, didn't you? Now you get a chance to really see the Bomb Warrior.
That's right. And yeah, I don't know how many bombs we're going to see. I'm just going to put it that way. There's not weapon removal from Linthesis with a rogue. I mean, not running in ooze. Like, there's no reason to run an ooze in rogue. And it's also not a kind of deck that's running Zephyrus. So there's no Zephyrus into ooze potential either. So, I mean, these weapons, there's not even freeze. There's no like freeze potential. These weapons are going to get value.
Mm-hmm. That's what, a potential of 6 bombs going into the deck already. That's a lot right there. But you can kind of see again the Corsair cache nerf coming into play a little bit with just the buff in durability and not the buff in attack, because that would have been the perfect clear onto the evil Miscreant. Greyheart Sage, though, what a good way to kind of cycle through the deck and find those combo pieces you want.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if drawing now before all these bombs go into the deck is better or worse, because I think it could go either way. Like, you know, finding all of these tools and not drawing the bombs early can definitely help Linthesys kind of build up a board or try to find the damage in different tools. But it is thinning the deck out already, and all of these bombs are now just going to be, you know, kind of clumped up together in the smaller deck size that Linthesys is now going to have.
That's a good point. Well, there's no way for Linthesys to know whether the Corsair Cash drew to both Wrench Calibers or Wrench Caliber and an Anchor per se.
Yeah.
So maybe she's hopeful that there's only going to be 5 versus 6. But
yeah, I'm not sure if she's going to care as much about 5 versus 6 bombs. It could make a difference, but in a deck that also has no healing, and again, there's no even possibility of like Zephyrus, the only thing she's really going to have is finding Galakron and getting that little bit of armor. And then if she can get Kronks out after being Galakron, there is 5 healing potential there. But
yeah, but you're right, that's kind of it.
It's not a lot.
And when the Rogue wants to be able to, I guess it's less so in this matchup, but a lot of times, like, the Rogue really wants to be able to use their hero power to just kind of, like, gently ping off minions on the other board. You can't really do that either when you know that there's going to be bombs coming out of the deck.
Yeah. I really like that choice from Linthesys, too. I think a lot of people would see that Dragon Queen Alexstrasza and say, oh, that's so great, I want to take that, but all these bombs being put in the deck, it's never going to be active. So I like just going for kind of that mid-sized dragon, hoping to get some value out of it.
Ooh. I like the Cobalt Spellskin here, too. We're seeing again that choice come through. But how to deal with this questing adventurer? Do you have to Blood Boil Brute here and then... Well, no, you don't have enough mana to Blood Boil Brute and then Blade Storm.
No, it's not going to be enough. And unfortunately, you can't just Blade Storm either because it just kills the 1/1s. Is it going to have to be Brute and a trade with the weapon?
Oh. That does not feel good.
It doesn't.
But you
I
have
think,
to.
Yeah. I mean, that's what, now 3 bombs put into the deck?
Yes.
Oh, this flick drawn. That's pretty good against his Brutes. And there's... Wait, are both Eviscerates in hand?
Yes,
that's just going to be lethal.
Yeah, you can just play Skyvateer. And then... There it is.
I was so focused on what was getting drawn, I wasn't even thinking about the fact that Linthesys has just been focusing on pushing all of that damage and just going for that out. I mean, yeah, getting the bombs in the deck is great if, you know, if that's what's going to happen in the game, but with Linthesys just getting on board and pushing a ton of damage, like, those bombs mean nothing.
Yeah, that's very true. Well, it is going to be unfortunately the Bomb Warrior not quite getting there. So Nycel still has a choice between going with the Galakron Rogue or the Bomb Warrior, but we've avoided the mirror match, which I feel like both women are probably pretty happy about.
Yeah. And, you know, it's a little bit interesting. The Bomb Warrior kind of in its history has kind of been been talked about as being good against Highlander decks, but with the current iterations of Highlander Hunter, it actually just doesn't do enough, because just shutting off the little bit of the little bit of Highlander synergy that the Highlander Hunter has, it's usually not enough. The Hunter just has so many other ways to deal damage and push damage and get on board that it doesn't usually care about, a couple bombs being in the deck. The only time is maybe just, shutting off Bran, and then as the Hunter you're sad, and then you just play some other big thing and beat your opponent down anyways, but...
That's true. That is true. Well, Nicel's gonna do their best here, trying to get as many bombs in the deck to shut down those Highlander cards. Bran's already in hand, so see if those Wrench Calibers come through.
Yeah. And unless Nicel draws a Corsair Cache here, it's looking like a little bit of a slow start.
Yeah, Blade Storm, very, very reactive.
Yeah,
a lot of this hand is very reactive. Horde Villager, you kind of don't want to have to play on tempo. You really want the battle cry from it.
Yeah. And do we see the Felma get coined out here? We do.
May as well. You have a great follow-up after that.
Yeah, this is going to be pretty good. Pretty good start for Linthesis.
Now what to do, though? You have the you have a dragon in hand. So you could just play out this fairy dragon instead.
Yeah, I also don't mind save Bone Chewer Og Merchant to play together with this hand. Like, play that as your turn 3. The fairy dragon kind of does a couple of things. It does bait out a potential removal here. Or if there's no removal, then it makes trying to clear the Felma with a Blade Storm a little more awkward.
That is true. Ooh.
Battle Rage potential now. And I think, does Linthesis just push this Fairy Dragon face? Or does she want to make this trade? Okay.
Okay, but I really like this because now that you put the Bone Chewer down, you can't really just Blade Storm anymore.
Yeah.
It gives too much over to the Bone Chewer in terms of giving it more attack. Also, bless you.
That was one of the dogs. They are sneezing at this warrior's hand. They're like, this hand is terrible. I don't like it. I'm gonna sneeze at it, and we're going in on the hunter just beating this warrior down now. But that previous play from Linthesis, I also like too, because going into that turn 4, Nicel hadn't really played anything, so maybe Linthesis was thinking that there could have been a Wrench Caliber in hand. Or maybe there was an Ankar that had gotten drawn, which wouldn't have cleared.
Ooh, this brawl had a 50-50 to be able to save a 5-4. It didn't do that. But I feel like the Bone Chewer is the next best thing.
Yeah, it's pretty good here. And again, just another awkward board state for Nicel to deal with.
Yeah.
The Blade Storm just takes out one, and I mean, I guess she can Sword and Board first.
Mm-hmm.
Sword and Board the 2/1, and then go for the Blade Storm.
What now?
That's still kind of awkward, though. It does leave the thing as a 5/1.
There's no more brawls either. Nice little copy. All right, going for the Blade Storm.
Yeah. Just try to remove as much off the board as she can.
Mm-hmm.
Well, transfer student is playable this turn at least, like unlike the rest of the hand. Alright. Discover a spell.
Ooh, tracking looks interesting.
Yeah. You can still squeeze it in this turn and a hero power if she really wants to, but the Bran next turn, and there's been no bombs whatsoever, so doesn't have to worry about the Bran being inactive.
I was gonna say, no wrench calibers means no bombs, and
yeah,
it's definitely not the part of the archetype that you want to see, but good battle rage. Here comes a bomb wrangler, but that's only for boom bots. But you also can't even play it this turn.
There's also been no armor smiths either. I think Nysil would have been okay as well playing a skipper and an armor smith this turn, but not in sight either.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I think you just go for it. I think you just Bran here. Do it. There's no way to clear it out. That's easy. Because there's no execute in this deck list.
No. No, and there was only the one brawl, which has already been played.
Mm-hmm. Maybe your hope lies in these bombs from the bomb wrangler.
Nysil's just gonna... Is she gonna have to go... I don't think she needs to go in on the Blade Storm. She's probably just gonna trade and play... well, maybe she plays it first, but she just goes for the Brute. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Trades in... Well, she has to attack first, actually, because if she plays the Brute, then the 2/1 dies.
Yep.
I guess it's only 1 mana difference. But... yeah. She still gets to clear, at least. Oh, and the bomb actually clearing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that worked even better for Nysil than she hoped for.
Absolutely. Oh, but Siamat on top.
Yeah, that's not bad. Also can squeeze in that tracking. If Linthesis really wants to, but she's still got stuff to play the next couple of turns, so maybe not necessary yet.
There's the wrench caliber. But are you so worried about this Siamat that you can't play it? Low roll on the bomb. I think you go for the wrench caliber and just stop like anything. Because like, you can see the Dragon Queen Alexstrasza. You know that you're getting into turns that the Highlander Hunter is going to be able to use some of the actual Highlander cards. So well, but that's only 1 bomb. You actually can't stop this.
No. And it's awkward too, because if Nysil wants to trade this Bomb Wrangler in, the Blade Storm then would just end up killing the bomb if she plays that afterwards. So that kind of doesn't do anything to clear on board either.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's just gonna have to take the damage here. Buff up the weapon, I mean, it only puts 1 bomb in the deck like you mentioned, but it does clear the board. She's already seen Bran. So that does mean there's a little bit less just direct damage that can come out here, but Dragon Queen Alexstrasza is still scary.
Yeah. Ooh, not quite the dragons you were looking for, though.
No.
Oh, but is this where we really see Nysil able to turn it around? Because you just look at the dragon that she pulled into hand. That could be like a nice value trade. I guess you attack all their minions though, so like
yeah. I mean, it probably does just clear the board, but I feel like if she's going to clear the board anyways, then maybe she just trades these in and Blade Storms. Is there potential for discovering a dragon? Like, what dragon is she wanting to discover here? I guess Varanus could be something.
Another Deathwing that aspect.
Spellkin too? What does she find with Spellkin? Like an execute? No.
Sword and board, I guess.
Sword and thing. Yeah. Well.
All right, she was able to get it all in. 2 bombs now in the deck means that the Highlander cards are shut off.
Yeah. Which she's already gotten to play Bran and Dragon Queen Alexstrasza, so the only Highlander card left is going to be Zephyrus, so not quite as impactful there. Gonna go for more draw? Discounted as well.
I wonder what you're hoping for here. There's 11 damage. Ooh, Unleash the Hounds is not too bad.
Yeah.
I like the ordering here, using the Twilight Drake first to be able to get the most value from the health.
She's gonna go for the Unleash here. Wonder if she wants to ping the lackey down, probably hit face with one of them, and then trade into the bomb?
Oh, no.
She's going all face. Yeah.
I mean, at this point, I feel like this is exactly what you want to do. You can't really just do an easy Blade Storm here.
Yeah.
It just clears off the hounds.
Oh.
So you have to Deathwing.
Sure. She probably just wants to squeeze in the hero power here too. I'd imagine she's just gonna gain 2 armor rather than drawing a weapon. Yeah. And gets in that attack, so that's 3 bombs in the deck now.
That it is. Not drawn though.
Okay, well, there still could be a lot of damage here. That Scale Rider's active for 2 damage. There's potential for 4 more from the Animal Companion. And then maybe 3 from the weapon. There's still a lot of damage that could come out here. The Nagrand Slam is also pretty interesting.
It's not a guarantee, though.
No, but with only 1 minion on board, it feels a lot higher. And if 2 attack in, then sure, you clear the minion. Yeah, this is still pretty good.
Oh, but the Galakrond, that kind of comes in clutch. Nysel's still, oh no, though.
I guess
you only get 5.
Yeah, I mean, she Blade Storms first, and then plays it. So she goes to 7 armor. I mean, this still could be lethal. Actually, it is just lethal. Stormhammer, the Scale Rider, and Hero Power is just 7.
Yep.
So that actually is going to be game. Let's see if, no, she sees it here. 2-0.
What a victory.
This warrior just not performing well at all. Just couldn't quite get there. Just way too much pressure being put on by Linthesis there. So she actually takes down the whole bracket tonight, ending in first place and getting 100 points in addition to the other points she's already accumulated.
Nysel comes in second again. This is 3 weeks in a row that Nysel has gotten that second place. I feel like first is just in her grasp, but just not quite there yet. Maybe with the new expansion, she'll be able to get there.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what these players bring next week. Again, we've kind of talked about it a couple times already tonight, but just a few days off of a completely new expansion, fresh meta. I am really excited to see what lineups these women can come up with and bring next week.
Yeah, let's just go through what we got a chance to see tonight. We kicked things off with Brookworm versus Malira, where Malira was able to take a 2-0 victory. So Brookworm going home with those 15 points. Next, we got a chance to see Trojanator versus Linthesis, and Linthesis in the finals and also taking home the whole bracket this week was a real treat to be able to watch her twice today. Brief moment, we got a chance to see Revi versus Valera Light. And then following Revi into the top 4 match between Nysil. Nysil was able to knock her out of the running and to be able to go into our grand finals versus Linthesis, where Nysil takes home second, so 75 points, and Linthesis takes home that 100. But Dawn, we talk about this a lot because we want more people to get involved, but each week is a new tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. Every single week is its own tournament, so these players can play in as few or as many as they want to. They just have to remember to get in the Discord, get that link, go to the website, however they want to get there, and sign up for each individual week. So if anybody else is interested in playing, they've seen these other players playing these, and they want to try it as well, absolutely jump in there, sign up. 16-player bracket each week. So make sure that you sign up before the deadline next Sunday. And again, next Sunday, jump in on the new expansion. Maybe you can build some crazy decks and throw people off and build up some points.
That's going to be a lot of fun next week, but the fun doesn't stop here. Maybe tonight for Hearthstone, but not for week 5. We might have just finished up week 4 for the Supergirl Gamer Pro 2020 circuit, but tune in next Friday because we will have more action for you for CSGO. Head over to our website, www.supergirlgamerpro.com, to see all of the news and keep up to date with everything that's happening for the Supergirl Gamer Pro 2020 series. And also follow us on socials at SGGamerPro on Facebook and Twitter. And as Dom mentioned, join the Discord. If you don't have teammates yet to be able to play in the League and CSGO challenges, then that's a great way to find them.
Yeah, absolutely. And as well, if you've missed any of the previous weeks, for any of the games, CSGO, League of Legends, or Hearthstone, all of those are also up on YouTube as well. If you're interested in going back and watching any of that, check it out at ASA Entertainment on YouTube, and you can find all of those. In addition to some other really cool stuff, they have a lot of like BMX videos and like skateboarding and all this stuff that Supergirl has done. So check out all of that there. And yeah, again, tune in live starting Friday next week for CSGO.
That's going to be it from myself and Dawn. We'll see you guys on Friday for CSGO at 8 p.m. Eastern.
It's not just the ships, the armor, or the aircraft. It's something more. It's the will to fight and determination to win, found inside each and every Marine that answers a nation's call. Battles won.
So I'm gonna hold on promoting you this quarter. Cool?
Drop the taco. Get in the car. Does this Sentra feel like a compromise to you? Wait, what? The handling, it's good, right? No compromise there. Nope.
Watch this.
Breathe. Rear automatic braking. So if this Nissan Sentra isn't going to compromise, why should you? You're right. Atta girl.
The all-new Nissan Sentra with more standard safety features than any other car in its class.